In some ways, by far the best is G&S, Gilbert and Sullivan. Why? Because Gilbert had the lyrics which he then handed over to Sullivan to write music to. Now that's not the way it works in Tin Pan Alley. They come up with the song, then they give it to the lyricist to put words to. The other way around seems to work better when you have, which is how I do my quote compositions. I take their poetry and I put music to it, but I'm just sort of nudging the pulse form which is already in the lyrics, in the poetry, rather than having them have to fit in. That's why I want to study what they call dummy lyrics. These are ones where the lyricist, he listens to the composer playing it over and over, and he doesn't tape music usually, so he has to make some form of shorthand to know what to do with it. And so they would make up dummy lyrics which fitted in to then make into sensible lyrics. There's that Rodgers and Hart, there's a small hotel with a wishing well, I wish that we were there together. And he says, there's a girl next door, she's an awful bore, it really makes you something to see her. And that's the only dummy lyric that we know has survived. And it sings beautifully, it scans beautifully with the original, and I don't think there's any loss, in a sense. Ira Gershwin, I think, only ever composed one lyric that hadn't been called for. It just came up spontaneously. I think it was Harold Arlen said, how do you start composing? You see, when the telephone rings. I think it was him. And it was always for a purpose. It never was something deep that had to be expressed then and now, and that's what I think. That's why the pulse form, the amplitude of the pulse in popular music is not as deep as classical. I think because they're waiting for the phone call. It's not coming from deeper inside, more just urgently has to be given birth at that time. It's different.